Who are you? Are you Abel or are you Cain? The story is not just a historical account of two brothers. It carries a symbolic meaning. All these stories in the Bible, they happened, I believe. But at the same time, you need to put yourself in those positions of these biblical figures. So are you Cain or are you Abel in that story? Do you work for God or do you not work for God? Is your sacrifice pleasing to God or is it not pleasing to God? Do you give the very best you can offer or do you give what suits you? You see, Cain offered a bushel of wheat as a sacrifice to God. A bushel of wheat. What's that worth? Like $5? I don't know. You know, if he would offer a ton of wheat, God would be pleased. If he maybe used that wheat, then milled it into flour, and then baked bread and cookies and pastries, a cake, you know, if he put some effort to make something good out of that wheat, then God would be pleased with him, you know, he would reward him. But he did the very least. He gave very little to God. He only demanded, oh, I must be treated good. But Abel, on the other hand, he was a shepherd. Okay. Did God just love him more because he was a shepherd and was able to give him a lamb? And Cain was a farmer, who just planted wheat on fields, so he could not give him an animal sacrifice. No, like God put Cain to be a farmer and he should give the best from the farm. But Abel, it says he chose the very finest lamb he had, with the most fat, the most beautiful animal, and that one which he could have chose for himself to eat, because you better know that lamb would taste good if it had a lot of fat on it. It's very valuable, you know. Lamb meat is not cheap. It's probably the most expensive meat there is. You have to wait for a whole year for that lamb to grow. And you have to take care of it for a whole year just so you can eat it. And it doesn't have a lot of meat. So that meat is expensive because of that. And, you know, Abel could have chose to sell that lamb or to eat it himself, but he chose to give that best lamb to God as a sacrifice, you know, because when you burn a sacrifice, you don't eat that meat. You know, that's the whole point. You sacrifice it to God. You don't touch it, you don't eat it. So that lamb is gone. So he put some skin in the game. He backed up his words, you know, I love you, God, with actions, with some serious sacrifice, you know. And God was pleased with that. He called him he loved him. But what does this mean for you? What is the symbolic meaning behind? What's the meaning behind this story? Well, you don't need to offer animal sacrifice or wheat sacrifice. That all went away with Jesus's sacrifice on the cross, the ultimate sacrifice. So that from that point on, these rituals are not necessary anymore, because back in the day when they sinned, they would clean wash They would do these sacrifices so they would not be guilty of sin, because you have to pay with blood to cover sins. But because Jesus paid with his blood, we don't have to sacrifice animals. But does that mean like Jesus paid for everybody, or that you can sin again and again and again and you're just pardoned? No. Jesus just gave you an option to accept him in spirit, so that he and the Father may dwell in you, and then they occupy your soul. So your thoughts get changed, your mind gets changed, your desires get changed, and suddenly you're not a wicked person anymore. You're not addicted to drugs or any sort of addictions. You hate being wicked, and you won't be rebellious anymore. You will be obedient and righteous to God. Obedient to God. Not obedient to other people. You will be rebellious against other people if they force you to do things that are wrong, You won't care what they say. The only thing you care about is what God commands you to do. But how to get to that point? You don't just say, "Oh God, occupy my soul. Jesus, occupy my soul." That's not enough. You might change your mind then, but you cannot change your mind. So you have to be all in. That's why you have to prove to Jesus that you're willing to walk the walk, that you really love him, that you, by loving, that you mean when he doesn't want you to just love him, he wants you to surrender to him. Okay? So are you willing to do that? Well, then it will be no problem for you to follow the commandments he talks about in his longest recorded speech in the Sermon on the Mount, found in Mathew, Gospel of Matthew, chapters 5, 6, and 7. Read those chapters like it's 15 minutes of reading and apply it to your life diligently, like for a few months, and you'll see changes in your life. I did that, and I began to experience coincidences. I'll give you a few examples. I was usually when I'm driving in my car, and I have certain thoughts. For example, one time I was thinking about a random topic about healthy dog food. And after 2 seconds, I see a big panel, big advertisement for healthy dog food. Which is a fucking serious coincidence, because how often do you see a big advertisement for healthy dog food? I don't. Maybe I've seen it for the first time. Just when I was thinking about that random topic that I don't think about ever. So I was like, this is the way God was trying to make me understand that he now controls my thoughts. He can implant thoughts in my mind. Another time I was thinking about God, Jesus, and as I thought about the word Jesus, my eyes landed on a cross of Jesus by the road. At the same second. Again, like God implanted that thought in my brain. So I would look at that cross at the same time. And this happened to me multiple times. At least 2 times. Another time I was listening to a recording on my phone, and when the man on the recording said, "Jesus, I saw the crucifix in the middle of nowhere, like in the bushes, there was a statue of Jesus." Unbelievable coincidence. And one time I was thinking about one of my coworkers and I'm walking in the office and my eyes land on his picture. There's a group of people on that picture and my eyes land on him just when I was thinking about him for like 2 seconds. Before I thought about him, then I saw his picture, you know. Just like little signs like that happen to me almost every day. And then I began gaining wisdom from God, just understanding about things that I'm interested in. I was interested in why my relationship fell apart, why my girlfriend left me, basically. And God explained it to me suddenly I understood that there came a moment where everything connected in my head, and I was like, whoa. It's obvious to me now. Like, I was looking at other women and flirting with them, and that built a desire in my brain for other women. And also I had pride because I wasn't able to... I mean, she was treating me bad, but I should have treated her good in return, you know. I should have been patient with her and like more strict with her at the same time, like to tell her openly that I'm not fine with what she's doing. I wasn't acting like a man, that's why she left me, you know, basically. But now I understand what being a man means, you know. To have your own principles and to live by them. I mean, your own principles from God. Those are the right principles to live by. Those will bring you what you want and what you need.